Hello, can you hear the massive clash of cultures? Yes, it's Eurovision week. ESC Fan TV is live here giving you our reaction to semi-final one. What an amazing semi-final it was. But before we dive into that, let's do the general admin. Don't forget, like, subscribe, comment. We've got Elliot in the chat room monitoring your comments this evening. Hello, Elliot.
Hello, temporarily in the chat room. I don't want to take Stuart's job off him.
Ah, yes, but you'll be in the chat room. You'll be in the chat room tonight, and you'll be in the chat room on Friday as well.
Yes,
monitoring it as well. And also, we have got a very special guest appearance before we go into the general show, and that's my co-host, who is currently enduring the biggest hardship ever. He's sat in a bar somewhere in Tel Aviv drinking whiskey cocktails, rum. Hello, Stuart.
Hey, Tom. Yeah, you got it. You got it absolutely spot on. I'm having a tough old week. Someone's got to do it, and I put my name in the hat. Here I am in Tel Aviv. Shalom, everybody.
Well, I know you demanded a recount, didn't you? Just to double check, but you know, it still came out as you. What can we do? We've also got on the panel this evening, we've got the lovely Jo.
Hello again, everyone.
And we've got the fantastic Jason.
Hello.
And Jason's going to be speaking to us later on about the fantastic event that's going on in the UK this weekend, which is the Manchester Eurovision Party. And also joining us from his sickbed, which, to be honest, being off work is the greatest thing you could do during Eurovision week. It's Andy Brooke.
Hello. Yeah, I'm sick as Serhat. Him. I'm sick. My voice is almost as bad as his.
Don't confuse Serhat with the name of your medication, lovely. Right. So, anyway, as I was saying, don't forget, hit the like, hit the subscribe button. Don't forget you can listen to us afterwards on Catch Up, but also you've got Spotify, you've got TuneIn, and you've got Stitcher. That is Stitcher, not Stitcher. Common mistake. We don't make it anymore.
Is it a thing?
Apparently it is. It is. Apparently.
What,
maybe I kept on doing it.
It is a thing, and you can listen to us anywhere now. Pretty much every podcast, Andy. Stitcher, Snitcher, you name it.
Stuart set up Snitcher just to go ahead of the curve. Now, the first thing we are going to do is catch up with Stuart for a Tel Aviv update. Stuart, what's the buzz like in Tel Aviv at the moment?
I think it's one of the best Eurovisions that there ever was, there ever is, and there ever will be, Tom. It's fantastic. It's a party night and day. Tel Aviv really is the 24-hour city. Doesn't matter what you may have heard in the news. There's no trouble whatsoever. It's the safest place I've been. There's a beach behind me. I've been walking up and down it the last couple of days. It's like being in the tropics out here. It is fantastic. 100% recommend this place for a holiday in the future for anyone who wants to go and explore the world. Come to Tel Aviv. It's a fantastic place to be.
Brilliant. And what's been the standout Eurovision experience for you so far? Because I mean, we've seen what's been going on through the videos you've been posting, your semi-final reactions, but also you've been going to lots of parties, I hear.
Yeah, we go to lots of parties. Euro Club is about 10 times the size of last year's Euro Club. Euro Cafe is about 5 times as big as last year's Euro Cafe. I mean, literally, Eurovision Village is really a Eurovision Village this year. The Israelis have embraced Eurovision like I can't remember. It really is something special. Standout moment of Eurovision, I think when it all came true last night and Australia blew everyone away. I've been talking about Australia for absolutely months, telling everybody that's the song to beat. That is the song that will absolutely dominate this Eurovision. And last night, my word was proven to be correct.
And so it was. And I hope, and I do hear actually, you have been consoling Oban in a bar last night, not because Cyprus got through, but because his lookalike from Hungary, poor Yoki Papai, failed to make it through the semi-final.
It was, yeah. I mean, a real shame. I mean, Yoki Papai's song was good. He performed it excellently. Yeah, it's a shame. You can't have 17 songs, right? You can't have 17 qualifiers. So 7 are always going to miss out.
Yeah. Na na na. Na na na
It's
na
what-
na 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 na.
You know what?
La,
People went
la,
mad
la.
in the arena for that song, regardless of how it came across on television. People love that song.
It's very true. Now, Stuart, I know we don't want to take up too much more of your time, but
I'm very busy, Tom.
I know
Very busy.
you are. I mean, you look like you are a man who's trying to do at least several things at once. Sorry, drink several things at once. But just finally, semi-final 2 tomorrow night. Who for you are the ones to look out for, having seen the rehearsals and so on?
Andy, shut up. Anyway, back to Eurovision. Next. Yeah, that was yesterday. Moving on to tomorrow. The song to really watch, there's 2 actually. Watch out for Russia. Russia really bring it this year. You may have listened to the song and thought, yeah, maybe not as good as 2016. The performance and the staging is out of this world. And secondly, big outsider, it's kind of making its way now through the betting ranks. Azerbaijan, outstanding.
Okay,
And not to forget Panda. I think Panda's song Limits is one of the best ballads of this year and deserves to qualify. There's a lot of good songs.
do you know what? I think Panda's been an absolutely fantastic ambassador for Austria as well. Nearly confused her with Australia. Obviously, people, if you were watching the press conference, you would have seen last night that so did the people running the press conference last night when they played Panda's song instead of Kate Miller-Heidke's song when Kate went into the press conference. But
Can I ask a question of Stuart?
you may.
Do you think
Yes, my old mate.
Do you think that Sergey is probably kicking himself for coming back in a year when Australia's got a banger of a tune again?
You wait till you see the performance tomorrow night. I strongly believe that this is the most open Eurovision in years. Any person who tells you now that this song is definitely going to win doesn't know what they're talking about. This really is very, very open. If you took a view that because there are so many outstanding songs, a safe song which everyone could enjoy might win, then you probably put your finger on Sweden. However, I think it's really open. I really do. I wouldn't want to put any. I haven't put any money down this year. No £100 bets. I've put nothing on anyone this year because I just do not know who will win Eurovision. Based on last night, I think Australia won the semi last night. My own personal opinion. I think Iceland probably came second, but that's not to say in the final the same occurs. But I do think Australia are the one to beat at the moment. Let's see how Russia and Azerbaijan get on tomorrow. They're the 2 to watch in semi-final 2, plus Austria from a ballad perspective.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Stuart. We're going to let you get on with your very, very hard work. Of course, there is the jury semi-final 2 currently ongoing in Tel Aviv, and I'm sure Stuart will be soaking up some of that atmosphere, at least if not in visual terms, then in alcoholic terms.
I'm so tired, I gave it a miss. Who will qualify from grand final from semi-final 2? Oh, Netherlands as well. Sorry, I forgot about the Netherlands. Netherlands is excellent. Anyway,
Okay.
I will shoot off and leave you to your evening.
Yeah.
Goodbye, gentlemen and ladies. Have a
Thank you
wonderful
very
evening.
much. Shalom.
Shalom.
Oh, it's all right for some, isn't it, people? Anyway, you may have noticed this evening, people, that we do have a reduced panel this evening.
We're not reduced.
We are. We normally have 10.
Oh, only in number.
We're reduced in number, but what we've
Not in quality.
I was going to say, what we've lost in number, we've certainly got in quality.
We're going to sing everything from now on.
We are the pasty pages who are still here in England, as opposed to those people that are in Tel Aviv. So let's kick off. Let's look at the qualifiers from semi-final 1. Just run down the list for you. We had Australia, Czech Republic, Cyprus, Greece, Belarus, Serbia, Slovenia, Iceland, San Marino, Estonia. Joe, who were you most pleased to see go through last night?
Storms like this. Yeah, definitely Estonia for me going through. I guess as well the Czech Republic, but because those are the 2 that I have the most affinity with. Certainly, I know I was worried a little bit for Victor to start with. I knew that he would probably get through, but then there was he had that tiny bit of a little on the first couple of notes, and I thought, oh no, please. But the staging worked amazing. Apparently, I mean, it looked brilliant on screen. So, and it looked as good. It sounded and looked as good in the hall, and I just thought, yeah, he's going to get through. And
He
when
looked
they
like he
announced
was
it,
shitting himself half the time.
he was, and the press conference as well. I mean, and even all his Insta stories and everything. He apologized for his vocals. That's the first thing that happened. He apologized for his vocals, which is rightly or wrongly. He says, "Oh, I'm going to do much better." And then yeah, he's just glad to be there, and he's so happy, and I'm chuffed for him really. And also the Czech Republic, because again, someone who they want to be there, they performed out of their skin, and yeah, that means a lot, doesn't it? When it means a lot to them, it means a lot to me personally.
Yeah, and the nice thing about the Czech Republic, I mean, they qualified last year, and it kind of shows that it's not just a flash in the pan for them. They are, back as a serious Eurovision country. They had their best ever showing last year. They came sixth, and I really hope, on a personal note, that Lake Malawi can do even better this year.
I think they will. Yeah, I really
like
do.
a fresh of breath air. A breath of fresh air, fresh of breath air.
Fresh air, yeah.
That's the one. Because personally, I mean, Stuart reckons Iceland came second last night. For me, I think it was Lake Malawi.
Do you know, I think you're right. I also think Victor is sort of top half as well.
Now, whilst we're on the topic of Joe and Estonia, I'm going to go across to Elliot, because I know Elliot has something he would like to say to Joe this evening.
Yes, I'm putting it out on camera for everyone to see. I am sorry to Joanne and the entirety of Estonia for slagging off Victor and his chances of qualifying, because I have said on multiple shows that Estonia would not qualify. They were buried by the running order, and Victor made me eat my words last night. So well done, Victor. I'm sorry, Estonia. Good luck in the final.
Apology accepted, and that's a round of applause for everyone, because yeah,
so professional.
Did you like that? Like, as I wrote.
Yeah, you saved your job.
Get me on PR.
I'll be honest. I mean, the green screen worked for him as well. That was the one thing I had my fingers crossed for last night. Was that green screen. Let's carry on down the list. Jason, for you, what was the standout performance for you last night?
I'll come back to San Marino in a moment. Czech Republic, because I've always loved them right from the beginning. They're polished. They're very good at what they do. They love what they're doing. There's smiles on the faces. It's beautiful. And they've probably got 78 different coloured jumpers, exactly the same to wear throughout the next week or so. It's polished and I like it. And I really do think they're going to do quite well. Top 10 maybe. Winner, not so sure. But it's an open field, so I think could be in for a chance. San Marino, after the first, I did give a cheer when he got through. It's camp, it's fluffy, and you could see his face when he sang the first verse that he knew he was out of tune. And he got back into the chorus, like, go on, son, you can do it. And he did. He got through.
And I mean, personally, I was pleased to see Sir Hat qualify because I had money on it, but they were offering 3-1 and all the other qualifiers were odds on. But aside from that, he's someone who really has worked the fan circuit over the last few years, hasn't he?
In what way?
Yeah.
Well, I was going with the way, Andy, that he's appeared at lots of the concerts.
Oh, okay.
He's really built up the fan base that he had by making all these appearances. And in actual fact, he went into there with a catchy song, but also with that support behind him. And I think that really
the girls were great. Through. The backing singers. I mean, they carried the song, and I agree he deserved to go through.
Yeah.
But he deserved to go through, but apart from the fact that Hungary and Georgia must have been very disappointed because they're great singers and great performances and missed out to a bit of fluff.
True, but we're going to talk about our non-qualifiers in a bit, Andy.
Oh, sorry.
We're we're gonna come to you anyway, and we're looking at qualifiers, and we want to know what was the biggest surprise for you last night?
I wanted Slovenia to make it to Saturday. I was very surprised when they did.
It's a tune that Serhat would be proud of.
I really like that song, actually, but it isn't really one for watching. It's one for listening to.
So Slovenia standout.
No,
Right.
I was very surprised. I was pleasantly surprised that got through. The standout was Australia, and the second standout was Serbia, which was a surprise for me.
Let's talk about Serbia then. What did we think of Navina?
She's lovely, but she's singing a love song, and somebody said she looks very angry considering that she's singing a love song, which I suppose is true. But yeah.
I thought it worked very well though, with her basically in a galaxy of stars and things as she sung. I thought the effects were really good.
You could tell the countries that had got hold of the control panel and done their own staging, which was Serbia, Australia, 2 or 3 of the others, and you could tell the ones that had just left it to the Israelis, like Poland, which was just a complete and utter mess. But Serbia was very, very well served. Beautiful staging.
Now, let's move on. Elliot, Greece.
Yes.
Catherine, Better Love.
Yes.
Was this a standout for you?
Yes, I hands down think she won the semi-final last night, and I will happily disagree with everyone who thinks that. Otherwise, I think she was the best last night, visually, vocally. The only distracting point is when they threw the ball into the audience. I ended up watching the ball for about 5 seconds, then forgot Catherine was on stage. Because, throwing a ball to a bunch of Eurovision fans, I was interested if it was going to go back to Catherine, or if it was going to hit her, or one of her fences or something. But yeah, she was phenomenal last night. She was on point. Everything worked brilliantly as it should. Her voice was amazing. The big note everyone was umming and ahhing about, she hit with no worries. She sailed through, in my opinion, last night. She was the highlight for me by far, alongside Belarus, who was my biggest surprise and happiest moment when she qualified, because everyone had just said she was going nowhere, and she hands down just owns that stage, outperformed people twice her age on that stage, and it was her stage those 3 minutes, it was her concert, and she just made me go, wow. So, and I love the song, so.
Were you happy with the camera work for Greece? Because they had a story there with that they were trying to tell, and every few seconds, the camera cut into the arena, and you just lost the momentum of what they were trying to do.
To be brutally honest, I've seen multiple interviews wrote and said by Catherine about the staging and the music video and the story of it, and it's still completely lost for me. It could have been wrote on a backdrop, and the story isn't for me for Greece, but I think it is very beautifully shot, and it's a beautiful concept. I just think, yeah, Catherine is just a very out there artist. We know this, but if there was a story, I didn't get it. But I struggled with the story of this song since day one, because apparently it's very prevalent in the music video as well. So it's a song contest at the end of the day.
And a British songwriter as well, of course.
Oh yes, David Snedden.
Yes.
Yep.
From the great hit Fame Academy 15 years ago or longer. I don't know. It's been a long time.
Unfortunately, it was longer. I remember it.
I remember it's like the first. It was the first reality show I think I ever watched. I was probably about 8. I won't say my age now because that would make you feel much worse. But yeah, 8 or so. I was young.
I was in my first year at university.
So was I, Tom.
Yeah.
I was definitely in at uni.
Yeah, Catalin was very good. And I think she's probably going to get a good slot in the first half as well on Saturday. And I think she can do very well on Saturday, which is Greece needs to get back into the final this year. And they've done it. So in their eyes, it's job done. Because they really struggled.
But do you honestly think she beat Australia?
Yes, honestly.
How much do you want to bet? Side bet.
Just say no, Elliot. Just
No, but
so
I can happily give my reason as to why in a fair and constructive manner, because I did love Zero Gravity last night as well. But Kate Miller-Heidke lost it for me when they showed the polls. The whole immersion got ruined. And
I think they
I
did
was with
that
a few-
just to show that it was real.
Probably, but I was with a few friends and quite a few of them said, I love this / hate this. They weren't sure how to feel about it on first listen. And I think from a public sense, Catalin is a safer song which people have recognised. You know, she sounds like Jessica Lynn and Amy Winehouse and these other names. And it's not this weird what's going on vocally or like melody-wise, whereas Zero Gravity is. So I think they were close in the jury and Greece maybe just beat her in the televote. That's what I'm going to say.
now, one thing I have been doing when I did my research is I've been looking at patterns. And interesting fact here, Greece failed to qualify last year, and then the year before they came 19th, and then the year before that they failed to qualify, and then the year before that they came 19th.
No.
And I'm thinking to myself, maybe, possibly. I mean, we've heard from Elliot and Andy, but Jason and Joe, what do you think? Are we going to see Greece get lost in the crowd?
It's the first time it came across to me properly. I heard it on CD and I thought, like, okay, singing live, and she was passionate. But the story right over my head. The ball reminded me of Prisoner the Prisoner. When it used to be on the sea and bubbling about all over the place. And then also reminded me of GAY. They used to do that. GAY used to throw the ball.
They did.
So that lost me. They did. Now I'm showing my age.
And the Russian song in 2013. She chucked a ball.
Yes, she did. 15th to 19th would probably be in my head, actually, where it would probably settle, I think. There's for me personally, the songs that push it slightly backward. But it definitely won't be last. It'll definitely be middle of the table, I think.
Yeah, I agree, actually. Yeah, I totally agree. I think, again, I mean, it's lost. The story's lost to me. I agree with Elliot. And as I said before, I've got an artist background, and it's still lost on me. But at the end of the day, I do think she'll just finish sort of second half, but not at the bottom. If that makes sense. I do think she'll do. That'll be an amazing performance for her. If that makes sense, it'll be fantastic. And a great achievement that she's made it. So well done her.
Now, another country that has made a great achievement, and speaking of patterns as well, I'm speaking of the country that came second in 1999, the country that came second in 2009, and now the country that's qualified to the final for the first time since 2014. I am talking about Iceland, Hatari, Hallgrímur Sigurður. Last time they qualified, interestingly, was Polapunk with No Prejudice. So I find a slight irony in the song titles there as well. But Andy, does this actually go to show what Iceland has to do to qualify out of the semi-finals now? That actually it needs to put something out there that is so off the wall and different to what everyone else sends. It's the only way they can get noticed.
No, it just means they have to send something decent. When they send good songs, they get through. When they send rubbish, they don't. Same as everybody else.
And what did you make of Hatari's performance last night?
I thought the performance was fantastic. If I had a criticism, it would be that there was just too much red and black. So it was very, very intense with no let-up during the whole of the song. But yeah, I would say it was in the top 3 or 4 last night.
Okay. And Jason, Iceland for you?
I've always liked it. I'm not a fan of shouty songs. I always keep saying that must hurt in the morning. But there's something about this I really do like, and I like the way that they're in an act all the way through. They're a bit like Sylvia Knight. They're doing an act. Even when they do interviews, they're deadpan. Apparently someone said they saw them very quickly doing a flag, and they're literally just doing this with the flag. It's clever. It's a gimmick. I think it's going to do well for them. I really do think it's. I'm glad they got through. I really am.
Now, I'm going to go across to Joe with this. There's been a couple of articles going around this week that the EBU have reached their patience, shall we say, with Hatari's political statements. And by the way, did anyone see Good Morning Britain this morning?
Yes.
No,
I will happily have that. I'll have that on a loop for the rest of my life. Piers Morgan trying to speak to Hatterley. Gold. TV gold. It's worth any TV license in the land.
I need to watch it, obviously.
It's brilliant.
Very interestingly, Richard Arnold asked Matthias, does Eurovision have like a political angle, or does pop and politics mix at Eurovision? And in the context of those articles, I thought their response was very interesting, because literally Matthias just fired the question back at him and went, yes, I think pop and politics do mix at Eurovision. And that was it. Nothing else.
He answered the question at the end of the day. He answered the question.
Yeah,
I am wondering, and I am wondering if this is an act that is actually trying to make sure that they toe that line. Because if we go back to Sylvia Love, she really irritated some of the press with, she went a bit too far with her act. I mean, what's your take on it, Joe?
Yeah, I totally agree, and I do understand that what was said with okay, because I think it came up last night at the press conference. There's was it the blonde hair guy? Is that Matthias?
Yeah.
He was lovely. He was absolutely fantastic, and it was only him there and a representative, and he was he was very sort of non-political in his political answers for all and sundry. He didn't go too far, and he even said, I don't want to get to, without avoiding and not getting too political. And I think there was a comment somewhere that he'd been sort of kept on a leash, so to speak. So and I do think that they are they're trying their best, but they are respectful, and I gained an enormous respect for him last night, and I know we've met them, and I know we've seen them, and I'm not the best worldwide fan of the song, but I really like them, and I gained a new respect for them last night as well.
Yeah, but they will have signed the contract with RUV that says we will not, and if you do, you'll pay the fine. Whether they get fined. So I mean, it's a game, isn't it? And they're playing it very well.
Very much so.
They're the pantomime villains this year.
But then they were the act that did challenge Benjamin Netanyahu to a wrestling match the day after the contest on the 19th of May. Although
match more like.
The thing is, they're laughing because who is the media been talking about them for the last 2 months? Hatari. Actually, that they have played the game beautifully, and it's all an act because we have seen Matthias break character a few times where he starts laughing, so he just knows how stupid this all is in his head. Yeah. And if you watch a lot of interviews in Icelandic, they are lovely gentlemen, like the pair of them. They are lovely, sweet people. They said that, I think besides Mum said, he's been very wise, he's very healing, he'll look after people. So they're not, this is all an act. It's purely just for the show, which everyone does. And, I have immense respect for Hatterley because last night, I don't know if anyone noticed, they had an LGBT flag in the centre of their table and they were waving it at one point as well. And that's the first time I've seen a pride flag waved in about 3 or 4 years in the Green Light Eurovision. So for that alone, I have immense respect for them.
They're very softly spoken as well. Matthias was last night. Very soft.
I did love their smug queen wave when they got announced as well, and then sort of looking like, yeah, we knew we were getting through. Like it's just so funny in the most dry British humour way possible. It's just hysterical. I could watch them for hours.
I agree. I do like them very much.
Now, moving on. I mean, we've got 2 countries left to look at from semi-final 1. First of all, let's in Oben's absence, by the way, because Oben is in Tel Aviv. Cyprus. They've continued their 100% record since they took a year off in 2014. Was Tamta's performance everything we thought it would be, Jason?
No, I wanted her to be like spot on vocally, and she wasn't. The costume, I didn't get the costume. She's a beautiful woman, and they put her in a bit of plastic, and it wasn't even nice plastic. It was, and then it was better when they left the bits on before they
didn't work on HD, did it?
It did. It was like, and the hair, you know, everything was like. I don't get it, because like on the video you look beautiful, and it's a very, you know, seductive video, and it's quite sexual, and you know, and on stage you would just kind of like sing, and she sang the song, and I think we wanted so much from her, and I don't think she delivered, and I actually don't think she'll be in the top 10. I actually do think she'll just be maybe 11th or 12th, because there are so many other better songs with people who can sing, dare I say, a little bit better live, that might push her back. She'll get 12 points from Greece, of course. But yeah, I'm a bit disappointed, really. She did well, don't get me wrong, but it was, I wanted her to do like, come on, girl, and it didn't happen for me.
I mean, Andy, do you reckon she will up her game for the grand final?
I don't think she has a game to up. She's not Eleni, is she? Funnily enough, and they mentioned last night in the introduction that she'd been offered Eleni's song last year and turned it down, which is interesting.
Ooh, I missed that bit. I was waiting for my dinner to cook while semi-final 1 was starting.
Were you bad fan?
Oh, no. I totally
Bad fan.
No, I blame Bachelor's packet super risotto. He told me it would take 14 minutes to cook my risotto, and I put it on at 20 to 8, and at 8 o'clock it was still cooking.
That's such a first world problem.
A letter of complaint going into Bachelor's as soon as I can find
I
it.
just send it into BBC for not delaying the broadcast for you.
Yeah, but then they just tell me to use pause and restart and things. And
yeah, so obviously she should have been sponsored by Bachelor's this year.
Replay.
Yeah,
yeah. If I'd have instant replay, yeah. Okay,
it was shite. I'm sorry, there was nothing good about it at all. I like the Greek song. It could have been better, but the Cypriot, nah, it was just.
I think when it comes to the final, I think there is a lot to be said sometimes for the acts that go first on in that first semi-final. And I think there is an element of nerves to them, because they are the ones that essentially open it all up, and it's got to work for them. And they're the first.
No, but her nerves were because she was being compared to Cyprus last year, and it was like a dog returning to its own sick.
I don't think I necessarily agree with you on the analogy. We will move on. Personally, I like the Cypriot entry. It's been drawn in the first half of the grand final. I hope she's not opening it again. I think
I'm trying to get banned.
What's that?
I'm trying to get banned like Harari.
Oh,
Harari.
Hatari.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I will say Tamta has gone on record and said she wants to open the final. I don't think she will, because they will not put someone on who opened the final to open it again. That's just stupid. And there are better options at the minute, I think. But she said she wants to. But to be honest, I'm a little surprised she got through last night, because that was nothing like I expected vocally. I mean, not to be rude, but yeah, the plastic over the bodysuit was weird, and I still don't know which wardrobe they went to find cowboy hats and chest harnesses for the backing dancers. Like, that was a choice. Like, it's such a weird concept. And her voice just sounded knackered. Like, she just sounded tired. And I don't know if that was just me, but she just sounded really just... I don't want to say over it, she's wanted it for so long, but she struggled. And when Zaina came out and completely said, right, this is how you sing an up-tempo song, I thought she was done, to be honest. I thought, well, the public can go for that, not this. I think she's... I'm a little disappointed. I'm happy she got through, but at the same time, I wanted more.
It will be interesting to see what happens. I mean, I'm going to throw the voting thing out there. Jon Olasand's gone on record on Twitter today, said there was only 2 points between 10th and 11th. And I'm going to throw it out there. Was it the 12 points that Greece gave to Cyprus that pushed them over the edge?
I would say yes. If we look at who potentially was 11th and who has friends in that semi-final compared to Cyprus, because remember, Tamta is Georgian, so she had Georgian fans as well. I think that's what pushed her over, because I heard the jury final as well, and I think Joanne did as well. Like, we had a live stream on, and she didn't sound great then. Yeah, I mean, they're streaming it from the press centre, so you can.
Cheating.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, we watched.
It's using your initiative. It's not cheating.
Jason, were you left out as well?
I was left out.
You were left out. Well, that's just not right, is it?
And I'm the host.
And you're the host with the host.
She didn't sound brilliant either time, and as I said earlier, a televote audience will be more forgiving on a bad vocal than the jury audience. So they're just going to see the fire and this woman owning the stage and go, yeah, I want to see that again. This song sounds fun, and not really hone in on the fact that she sounds a bit tired. And yeah, last bit on the outfit, the dangly bits off her legs and all that, they look like the bits you get off your mother's chandelier. Do you like the sort of dangly bits you have in chandeliers? Sort of like diamonds. She just picked a few of them off and just glued them to the sides of them. That's it. Like I said, I'm happy she's in the final. She's waited 12 years to do it, but I was disappointed.
Anyway, we must move on. Tamta, we love you.
Sort of.
And Oban, hopefully our comments haven't made your heart break too much. Now, Australia, it's the big one that everyone seems to be talking about. Not just big in size of the country, but big in terms of the height of the singer. Kate Miller-Heidke, Zero Gravity. I mean, for me, this was the standout performance of the night, purely because I think it's incredibly brave for any singer to stand on like a 40-foot high pole and deliver your song to the audience, and deliver it with such pitch perfect style as well. Obviously, there is a performance package there as well to think about. But
Tristan's doing his hoovering.
I was going to say, let's go to Andy. I mean, Australia, was this... I mean, are they going to win it?
It was out of this world. She said that she liked the Jeopardy aspect of it, and she's using a handheld microphone. I mean, how dangerous is that? If she drops it, she can't sing the bloody song. Why don't you have a head mic like anybody else in that? But it deserves to win. When I was listening to the CD, half listening to the CD, I must admit, this came on, and I was, I quite like this. What is it? Oh, it's in Australia. Oh, I don't like it. And the more I listened to it, the more I realised, actually, I do like it. It's just not an easy song to love, but it bears repeated listenings, which is not ideal for Eurovision, but the staging just gets you over that. So, you might have hated Hard Rock Hallelujah, but the staging won it. The staging will win this song, but actually I do think it's a good song behind it, and she is a fantastic performer.
Joe, Kate Miller-Heidke, in for the win?
Yeah, I think they are. I think not necessarily they will win, but they're definitely playing it that they want to win, and that's what I love. It's the fact that they're not just there to make up the numbers. There's a few pointers. I mean, I was never a massive fan of this song either, and I've just been a total convert because she sings out of this world, and just the fact that, as you say, as Andy's saying, that she's on a pole, she's not just that, but she is moving, especially at the end. She's hitting those notes and still moving and dancing. And to be honest, her co-dancers on the poles, the backers are great. And the other thing as well is that when people actually realise that this is about mental health and postnatal depression and everything that she went through, it is mental health awareness week as well on top. So and I think some people think, oh yeah, I heard about that on TV, blah blah blah, and then potentially they may go for someone who's got that as a subject, as a theme for the song. So that as an ad lib, that could also gain votes as well. So yeah, she's
and it's
cracking,
very subtle,
really.
Joe, don't you think? If you describe what it is, 3 women up on poles and swaying around, you think, oh, that's going to look ridiculous. But actually, it's quite sublime.
Absolutely.
Gentle.
Yeah, tells a story.
Mm-hmm.
And once you know the basis of that story, you get it. You don't start thinking, well, I don't get this, like, scratching your head like you would with Grease. You get it straight away. You understand the world's underneath, and she's up in the air with her. There's zero gravity, and it's there, and it sticks in your head. And right now I'm just singing that high note in my head as I'm talking about it. So
for me, I think of the lyric at the start, which I think sums it up quite nicely, when it's like, hey you, it's me again, hey you, stone in my shoe. I think sums it up really nicely.
Yeah.
How it's that, and we all know sometimes it can be the tiniest stone in your shoe that causes you the most, pain and discomfort. And I think it's quite cleverly done. Jason and Elliot, what's your take on Australia?
Well, it's interesting because I don't know who's going to win this year. I've got 4 in my head that probably will, 2 that might, and now she comes in from nowhere, in my mind, to go straight to the top. I heard her reprise on when she won in Australia, and she didn't hit the high note. And this is what I was waiting for her to do it, and she did it like Joanne said. She did that bobbing about all over the place, and in fact, I swear the bobbing actually helped her do it. It just came from woof, and there it was. I personally think she was the winner of this semi-final. I really do. And I don't know. I've got people like gimmicky songs. I really do think. Look at Netta last year. I really think this might win. I really do. But I can't put my finger on which one will. But this one has literally gone right to the top of my list.
Now, Elliot's monitoring the chat room for us this evening. What are they saying in the chat room about our qualifiers from semi-final 1?
People are saying Slovenia was their surprise for qualification as well, but people did also love their reaction. They're very happy with Greece getting through as well. Thought she was very on point. Iceland was great, and even if they don't love the song, they want to buy their performance or them as an act. And Cyprus, someone has said the staging was the best, but vocally is struggling. May struggle for a top 10 finish. Do that with a hand mic in her hand, and she's really using a hand mic is because it sounds better in her in-ear monitors and in the acoustics. So that is why she's using a handheld mic and not an earpiece mic, because it sounds better in her head. So that's why she's gone with the risk of dropping it.
Sorry, say that again. I missed that.
The reason she's using a handheld mic is because it sounds better when it plays back out into the audience and down the TV screens. It sounds better in her in-ears.
That's good.
So that's why she's made that decision. I don't know if anyone saw, but a few days ago, an Australian TV channel did a story on her, and she actually explained to be, and it's a beautiful and really quite touching insight into her life, because the whole postnatal depression that she's wrote about came shortly after the birth of her son, and how she felt too tired to sing. She felt like she was effectively failing as a mother. She couldn't do it, and then she slowly just found strength in herself and her husband to get over this hurdle and got to where she is now. And when I heard that, I had just woke up, so I wasn't really with it, but it did make me feel really emotional. And regardless of the result, I think Kate Heidke is an amazing person, an amazing singer, and every Australian should be immensely proud of her.
And I think,
and we also have to thank the Australian team for accrediting Stuart.
yes,
They got Stuart to Tel Aviv.
there is that. Stuart is there representing the Australian press in Tel Aviv, but also let's not take away the fact that, you know, Australia, I mean, I would say in 2017 they were lucky to get away with 9th. I think with Isaiah, I think there were stronger performances out there.
Oh, yeah.
I think in many ways they paid for that last year with Jessica Malboy, who came 20th. But I think this year they have brought their A game very, very, very much so. And I think, I mean, quite literally, the sky is the limit for them.
Miss the sky.
Great pun. Great pun.
Now, time is marching on, and we must actually talk about our non-qualifiers. Montenegro, they've now not qualified since 2015. Finland haven't qualified now for 4 out of the last 5 years. They only qualified for Sara Alta last year. Poland, it's their 2nd year out on the trot. Hungary, it's the first time they haven't qualified for the final since 2009. Interestingly, their non-qualification in 2009 was met with a year's break. They actually missed the 2010 contest. Belgium, 2nd year running, they're out. Georgia have completed their hat-trick. And perhaps the saddest story of all is Portugal, who've gone from non-qualifiers to winners to hosts and back to non-qualifiers. And they've literally completed the whole Eurovision circuit in the space of 4 years. So my question to the panel is this: what country were you most disappointed to see go home after last night's semi-final? And I'm going to go straight to Jason.
Because of the ones that didn't get through, I wasn't keen on anyway. I would probably say Finland, because as soon as I heard of Darude, I thought this could get somewhere. It was interesting. I saw an interview, I think the BBC, with the young lad that he's been interviewing, the artist. The boy said to him, like, why are you not singing? And he said, I haven't got a singing voice. Now, Darude's obviously known for his keyboard work. He got lost on the stage. He was right at the back. There was no focus on him. It was on this singer who gave this really poor performance. And I really wanted, because it was Darude, for him to go through.
Yeah, you thought, why didn't he get a decent singer or a few singers? You know, could have had 5 singers on stage, for God's sake. It could
have been a. I know it's 2019 and we still don't do the Darude album, you know, songs. But if he had a female vocalist, maybe with maybe less words and more of his music, you know, that would maybe worked. But it got totally lost on me, this song, and indeed it looked like it got lost in the audience there and you know, to the voting public.
Interesting to note that Finland last night, when I was looking at the odds for actual qualification, they were the real rank outsiders. They were 10-1 to qualify last night, and that was the longest odds by a long, long, long way. And it's a shame, isn't it? I mean, do we think Finland will change tact after this? Because they've gone for 2 rather gimmicky selections in a row.
I think they have to, because Finland out and outly have said they've struggled to find an act this year. And Darude's music was great, but Sebastian let down that song. His voice just wasn't right for it. Like, he just struggled, as we've said from day one. And Sara made it work because it's Sara. And I don't know, because a lot of acts turned down the right to do it. Like 4 or 5 acts were approached, including Darude, who initially rejected competing this year before doing a U-turn. So Finland has to go back to the old format, find 10 songs, 10 unknown singers, give them a national selection to compete in. Don't cherry pick an act, because their heart won't be in it as much as someone who's gone through the selection. I mean, if they want to do that, Go back to UMK 2016, Emma Sandström with Circle of Light, who was desperate to do it, was devastated she didn't win because she let herself down. Give her the chance instead. If they want to do that next year, because at least she wants to do it. She's dying to do Eurovision, and she's openly said it. But honestly, I think Finland came dead last night. I think they were last place.
What, below Montenegro?
Yeah, and Montenegro had people who could vote for them. I don't see who voted for Finland, to be honest.
Tenor on that as well?
You have a problem.
Andy, I'm all these things about £10. You either go big, like do it, like £100, totally flicking it out there, or you go like me, £1 each way. No one.
100 quid. 100 quid that Australia won the semi-final. Anybody?
Oh no. Now, let's go to Joe. Country you're most disappointed to see go home out of our 7 non-qualifiers.
For me, definitely Belgium. I, you know, he's such a sweet lad, and he was nervous. You could tell he was nervous, and I think at one point he miss his camera cue? I think when the camera was panning, and it's a shame because you know he had a great song. He's a really lovely guy, and to be fair, I was expecting him to go through, but it's the same story with Belgium as was last year, really, because we were expecting better.
They needed Suri.
You what? Sorry,
They needed Suri.
Yeah, they need to. Yeah. Suri
She was there 2015. She was there 2017.
And they qualified. Exactly. Yeah. I thought you know. So yeah, said it last year. Said it this year. They need to go back to you know, sort of having a think, because they were doing really well, and they just need to go back and have a think about who they can choose, and maybe someone that's, you know, not so much of a green performer. I think someone who's a lot more polished as well, potentially. That they need to get in. They need another Loic or another Blanche, really, but certainly another
all of them again.
That'd be fab, actually, because I think if Loic, with the fan base that he has now in Europe, and how well he's doing, and his European Music Awards and everything that he's been getting, if he came back in, he's got a really good chance of winning it.
Yeah. And I mean, having spoken to Elliot, I knew how proud he was to represent Belgium, and also, I mean, he was very honoured to have Pierre
Dumoulin
write the song for him, and it was something he actually commented on, how much of an honour it was, and it was a shame to see him not go through. Sorry, I think.
Not qualify.
The only thing I would say potentially, and I think it was
shit.
Distracting. Do you know what? I disagree. I thought I really enjoyed his performance. I'll tell you the one thing I found distracting about his performance.
Drummers.
No, I thought the drummers set it off. Do you know, the one thing I really didn't think worked for him was actually that jacket.
Oh, the jacket, yeah.
Because when he performed at LEP, he performed in a 3/4 length coat, white t-shirt and jeans. And that style
like Nicky
looked
French.
Brilliant. But it worked. It worked for him. It worked for the way he was performing that song. And I really think it's a great shame, because I think, in actual fact, I think we've lost one of possibly the best young singers we've got in this year.
I think he gave up the moment he heard the Dutch song. I thought, well, I don't stand a chance. I don't stand a chance now.
It's such a shame if that happened, you know.
That's just my impression.
The thing is with Elliot, and I'm devastated when out, because I think I had him 5th or 6th for the entire 41. I love this song. I think he's a great singer. This song is, you know, it's modern mixed in with 80s. It appeals to everything I love in music. I think he is the one act who should have used that runway. If you listen to lyrics, I came to fight for you. Use that. Walk towards the camera. Have some drive. I think he just got in his head and just froze. it's such a shame because I love Belgium and Eurovision. There are some brilliant songs the last few years. And obviously, we have Jörna on here as well, who we all love. And we all really wanted to get through for Jörna. And I hope she's okay about last night.
I think she's a bit disappointed. I have spoken to her. I did ask her to come on to talk about Belgium, but unfortunately said she was too upset.
Still weeping.
It's too soon. Yeah, it's such a problem. You know, I loved Blanche, I loved Loic, I loved Senek, I even loved Laura Tesoro. Like Belgium send good songs, but something just seems to fall apart at the staging at the minute. I think they just need to do what Malta did. Just get some tweeting, get people in that know how to like stage a song. Because that's what it feels like. That's what's let them down the last 2 years, has been the on-stage presentation. Yeah.
Now, we must move on. And I'm going to go to Andy. The song you were most disappointed to see drop out of the semi-final.
Well, that's a tough one because all the songs that I wanted to get through did. Poland, I would say, but they completely screwed at the staging. They had that turntable thing, and then when they wanted to get it off the stage, they just showed a wide shot of the audience for about 10 seconds, which just ruined it.
And I think, yeah, the wide shot of the audience did not work.
I'm not sure what else they could have done, though, because they couldn't have shown anything on the stage with half a dozen people wheeling that thing off.
No, but the same, and I think it was in Yoki for Prize performance as well. There was a real long, wide shot of the auditorium, and it just, I mean, part of the auditorium didn't look as full as it could have been. Let's put it that way. And I think that's where the impact was lost. Because
the camera work was just dreadful for the whole night.
I think the camera work all night was quite dreadful, to be honest. Like you said, there were areas where you clearly shouldn't be showing because it was empty. And when there was like no one there. It was like, it's almost like stand forward, stand forward, stand forward. And
but I think a lot of that is pre-programmed, isn't it? They work the camera shots and well, you'd know, Jason, as a DJ, the number of things that you can pre-program if you want to, and then you sort of press a switch and off they go.
Yeah,
and maybe they just didn't override any of them.
Yeah. So Poland, disappointing. I mean, Joe, you met Telia at London. I mean, what was your experience of them there?
I didn't meet them for very long. I just had a quick chat because literally we were just off to interview someone else, and they were going off to, I think, to do their sort of rehearsal. And then again, I met them very briefly before, but they seem really, they seem like lovely ladies. And to be honest, when during their performance, they were really well received at LEP. They were really well received at in Amsterdam, and I just think they did everything right. They did the circuit, the pre-parties. They had chats with everyone. They engaged with the press, or certainly Tulia certainly did, because she's the better English speaker. And they didn't. I can't see how they did anything wrong going into the competition. I just think on the night that they didn't even sing badly. They sang really well. I think it probably was the staging, and also maybe some of the public didn't get it. I think they probably got some jury votes, but I just don't think that the public probably got the song potentially. And it was a shame if that's the case.
Yeah, I mean, Jason, what do you think of the argument? And I'm playing total devil's advocate in some ways with all of this, because we've said with Poland, there's not a lot that was wrong with it. Did the audience not just get it, or is it the fact that Poland's friends actually just weren't in that semi-final to pick up the phone for them?
It could be that as well. I mean, like the UK loves Poland. We give them points straight away. I think personally, for me, the going round in the circle, it just looked messy. They looked lovely. They sounded brilliant. I mean, also I was surprised we didn't get through, because that looked good and it sounded good. But there was a feeling midway through, thinking like, do you know what? I don't think this is going to go through, because there's something about it that's not coming out of the TV screen. So if you're a televoter from a country that doesn't normally vote for Poland, it's going to be lost on you, I think.
Yeah, do you know what? I think that's a factor. I think it's a shame. But Poland are renowned for bouncing back. I mean, they qualified every year from 2014 through to 2017, and they've had some cracking songs as well. And I think they'll be back probably bigger and better next year as well. Elliot, another country we are disappointed to see go out of semi-final one is.
I've got to say the one I'm shocked about is Hungary. I mean, I can't really spoke much about it or not, so I'm just going to see right now. But
No, we haven't.
I'm honestly surprised. Yossi Papa's gone. I just thought, yeah, everyone said this wasn't as good as Origo. I disagree. I really liked this compared to Origo. Like, it's just so emotional. It's got the the whistling / na 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 bit you can easily sort of like go along with. It gets stuck in your head even though I can't speak Hungarian. I don't understand a word he is saying, but you could see the emotion in his face. Like, one of my friends said, like, "Oh, it looks like he's like scrunched up," but putting his heart on, he's conveying it through the TV, and I don't understand where this got lost in people. I mean, people love Yossi. He's a great advocate. He got, was it 8th in 2017? He did amazingly. He came second in a semi-final. I just don't understand where this dip has come from. But even though that shouldn't be a factor, like let's be brutally honest and break it down. And I love Serhat as a person. He's brilliant for Eurovision and the community. But if you were sat there in a jury final, would you really put Serhat above Yossi? I wouldn't, to be brutally honest.
I think something that actually didn't go in Yoki's favour though was the staging, and I thought there was an absolute brilliant idea because the song was about his father who'd passed away, and he wanted people to send in pictures of their fathers as well. And you saw some of those pictures on the stage last night. But I thought it was a great idea. I don't think it was executed maybe in a way where people could actually understand it. If it had been people with their fathers and things, as opposed to what I saw, which was basically just photos of old men.
Yeah, I think that would have been that is the main issue, because even with sisters, they wanted, it's all about female empowerment and sisters, so they got people who are sisters, and it's a clear thing of we're girlfriends or we're sisters in the photos, and that is conveyed. Yeah, I think that was just done a bit wrong, and I am a bit worried Hungary are going to withdraw, because this is the first time since they've used a Dal someone hasn't qualified from a Dal. They are losing viewership rapidly year after year of a Dal. It's not, people don't watch it as much in Hungary anymore. It's rapidly losing. So, because people don't like the format of the Dal, they think it's way too jury heavy, which it is. So I do think they're either going to have a massive overhaul of a Dal or they're going to withdraw. I don't want them to leave Eurovision, because if they had AWS last year, fantastic. The year before, Oligo, brilliant. The year before that, who did they send in Stockholm? I've completely blanked.
Yeah, what's the name?
Yeah, that one.
Still not coming to me.
A really well-known one.
I probably liked it. I like Hungary Eurovision.
I mean, the only thing I would
Jockey,
say...
wasn't it?
No,
it's
he was
2017.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The one thing I would say is that, in actual fact,
that was Frederick.
Yes.
I was going to say Hungary failed to qualify in 2008 and 2009 before they then withdrew for a year. So you may see them. I mean, and I think also what will happen, it will come down to, in part, what happens when they get all the stats through after Saturday evening.
Yeah, I do think
as to how they view it.
Just think it's like a plea almost to MTVA, the Hungarian delegation. I think next year you need to go back into a more accessible language because, you know, although AWS was great and so was this, you know, AWS barely qualified last year. Hungarian is one of the hardest languages to understand and learn, and I have friends who are Hungarian and they agree with that. It's just not an accessible language.
Elliot, either you understand the language or you don't. So the fact that it's a difficult language doesn't really make any difference.
My point is that
it's no easier to understand than Slovenian or French if you don't understand them. You either understand it or you don't.
I just think they need to find a way to market and make their song more accessible to a wider audience. That's what I'm thinking.
I think Elliot has a point, because if you look at Hungary's most successful entry was Running, wasn't it?
No. Their first entry came fourth. And that was in Hungarian. That was beautiful.
But that was years ago. I'm talking about
in your lifetime. Sorry.
I'm talking about no, it's still in my lifetime. But I'm talking about in the modern contest with
in the modern contest
with the telly. It's true though, isn't it?
How fucking rude!
It's true.
Yeah, because back then there was the language rule as well. So you'll see with the new language, the language rule abolished. With the way modern music is, you know, something needs to change.
They came eighth in 2017.
They did. But their most successful song was still Running, which was sung in English, which had a very clear message to it. And actually, there was something in that performance that I think actually stood out and spoke to the majority of Europe that they picked up the phone for. And that was one that people got. It was a decent song, but I think also there's a lot to be said for being able to understand the message of the song. And I think last night, there was a clear message in Yoki's song, but unfortunately I think it actually got lost because I think the execution of the idea just didn't work, sadly, because I think he's a bloody good performer.
Well, I totally disagree.
Yeah. Well, frankly, my dear, I don't give
a damn.
Yeah.
What's done is done. Yossi won't be there on Saturday and I'm sad about it.
Now, let's shout out to the other entries that didn't get through. Obviously, poor Montenegro.
Boo.
Now not qualified since 2015.
Boo.
Demol Heaven. Poor Demol.
Who?
Demol.
It started off rocky. The first few bars of their song, someone was nervous and off key. That's kind of like set the tone. And their ending, where they did that thing, it's like, what's this? It's like they were told to improv for 2 bars and they didn't quite know what to do, which is a shame.
Yeah, that staging at the end didn't necessarily work for them, did it?
I'm waiting for one of them to go solo and enter Montevideo next year, though.
I love the Montenegro colour styling, though.
True.
It reminded us of our boy in 1987 with his bit of kilt over his shoulder.
In addition, we also had Georgia, who put in a crackingly good performance.
It was well staged.
It was very, very well staged. I mean,
shame about the song.
Well, I mean, Joe, we've discussed this before about how we thought Georgia was bottom of the rankings. I mean, was that bottom of the rankings for you after last night?
Yeah, I mean, I think he deserved to go through. I mean, yeah, he was always my number 40. And yeah, at the same time, he had one of the best voices in the whole competition. And it was just the song rather than him. He's an amazing performer. And you know, a better song, he not only would he have qualified, he'd probably got top 10. And I've always been a bit of a fan of Georgia, I must admit. You know, because I can name like sort of quite a few entries where I was like, we'd like Georgia this year. And yeah, I was expecting him to be the dark horse, to be fair, after that performance.
Yeah. And then
brilliant staging.
Yeah. And then also, I'm going to go to Jason. We had Portugal. Conan Osiris.
Yeah, a Portuguese friend of mine told me, I think I've just heard the song for Eurovision, and he played me a bit of it. I thought, no, that can't be it. And then I saw the performance of it. Now I get it. Going to Portugal last year and listening to some Portuguese music, I totally get it. I do get that's their style, which is what Eurovision is all about. But it was totally lost on me. I just didn't get the slam dunking on the floor with the other guy while this one's singing. the bits. I didn't get it at all. It was like too much going on in my head, and it just like next.
I am so
Can I have the
pleased
next
you
song,
said
please?
that, Jason, because I was speaking to Joe at the time, and I think we had a discussion which was basically like, do you get this? Because I don't.
It's like Tracer Emin's bed,
Yes.
complete with used content.
Modern
There's
art.
just too much going on, and it did.
Elliot, we've
It
got
sounded very
audio
Portuguese. I'll
problems
give him
there.
that.
Hmm.
Oh, do I sound like a robot again? Great. Am I better now?
Yeah,
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
I say, Conan, he's his own artist, and I respect that first and foremost. And that does sound very Portuguese, and Portugal always have a very unique song within the contest. Does it always make sense? No. And we saw that, and no disrespect to any Portuguese listening, but I said this like months ago, and I heard the shortlist. I was like, "Oh, Jardim, beautiful song, didn't connect. I don't see anything from this list connecting." And to be fair, I got a fair few comments saying I didn't get music and I just love pop trash. I do love pop trash, don't get me wrong, but yeah, like something clearly didn't work down the camera, because the song was called Telenovais, cell phones. What was on stage to like convey that message? Even though I did love his hammed up telenovela style death at the end. Like, you're on the Eurovision stage, milk your moment, and he did.
I mean, in some ways, Portugal are the exact opposite of what we've said with Hungary, for example. In that Portugal, I thought their performance was, I may not have got it, but I know it was a very, very good performance. The song, however, I think,
Utter shite.
well, it wasn't. It was just lost.
I'm channeling Michelle now.
Lost on people.
Utter shite.
Yeah. It was.
You need a
It
few
was
more
lost on
glasses of
people.
wine, darling, before you channel Michelle that.
But I have done my research on social media, and I know a lot of two acts are very publicly upset about Portugal's elimination, and they are Catalin Duska and Bilal Hassani. They have both openly said it makes no sense in their heads that someone with such a visual concept mind has got eliminated. But saying that, Catalin and Bilal, both visual artists on stage, so I understand why those two probably understood what Conan was doing.
But also to say with them, they are two artists that have got stories behind their staging that we've already said. I mean, particularly with Catherine Duska, we don't get. I mean, I think everyone on the panel agrees with that. We don't get it, but we do get the song.
Yeah.
It's when you don't get both all of a sudden, what have you got to go on?
Yeah.
Now, people, we are rocketing towards the end of tonight's show. Sad face. We are back on Friday to go through semi-final 2. I will be back on Friday. Andy, I'm hoping you will be back on Friday as well.
I will, absolutely.
But before we do, I know there is someone here who wants to talk about the excitement for us that aren't in Tel Aviv about Saturday. Over to Jason.
Hello. Manchester is where I normally do Manchester calling. This year, God bless them, they let me in charge of getting some acts. So we're having a Eurovision party. We've got Surrey, quite chuffed with that one. The lovely Lindsay D from 2001, Susie from Portugal, and the reformation of Belle and the Devotions from 1984. And that should be very interesting. So they're live on stage at midnight. We've got loads of stuff going on. There's also a Euro Club, which opens at 4 p.m. Till 5 a.m. Includes a Eurovision disco by myself and loads of other things. And we've also got a meet and greet thing as well if you do want to meet all the acts. Full details can be found on manchestereurovision.com.
Fantastic. And I know, well, I'll be there for a start off. I don't know, the lovely Joe will be there as well. Andy will now be there because
I was thinking of doing a live blog from it.
Oh, that'd be lovely. I was thinking of just whiskey, maybe cocktails, maybe, and some rum.
It does sound really, really good. And I apologise to Jason when I first heard about it, but having decided I wasn't going to go to Tel Aviv, I thought I'm going to stay at home and watch it on the television. for the first time in many, many years.
But Andy, come on, this is a chance too good to turn down.
Mm.
But
and it
also,
will be a
I would
fantastic night.
probably get into too much trouble
Wow.
with my mouth.
Let's be perfectly honest, Andy. If you don't go, okay,
You won't know.
Joe and I will only make you jealous by posting loads about it. Now,
What's new?
Elliot, wrap up the chat room for us. What have we got going on?
Well, just to go on, we asked who we're most upset about with the qualifiers, who didn't get through last night. The names that have come up the most is Portugal, Georgia, Hungary, and Belgium. So it kind of like echoes what we said. So between us and the chat, we have got 14 qualifiers. Impressive.
And that
So I
sounds,
feel a bit sorry
that
for
sounds totally
Poland,
reasonable to me.
Finland, and Montenegro. Didn't get much love.
Oh, well, never mind. It's a shame, unfortunately, and this is the thing. You can't. I mean, I was talking about this with Stuart earlier, and we said, you know, the other guy that's in Tel Aviv, hardship guy, yeah. He lost the bet. He had to go. And we were saying the shame of it is there can only be 10 qualifiers, and that's that's a tough fact of life. Now, people, I know I will be back here on Friday. Joe will be back here on Friday. Elliot will be back here on Friday. Andy might be back here on Friday. Jason is going to be busy preparing for a Manchester Eurovision party on Friday. I don't think we're going to be seeing him on Friday, but we will be here. We'll be going through semi-final 2 ahead of the grand final, which we will have a running order to look through as well by that point in time as well. Quite exciting. Ahead of the big night on Saturday. Until then, don't forget, you've got catch up on YouTube. You've got all our interviews there. You've got our reviews and so on. You've even got Andy's bad singing. Also, you've got Instagram, you've got Facebook, you've got Twitter, and I'm going to mute Andy just very, very briefly. There we go. And he is actually muted now. And as I was saying, you've got Facebook, you've got Twitter, you've got Instagram, you've got loads of ESC Fan TV Eurovision stuff to keep you occupied between now and 8 p.m. tomorrow. 9 p.m.
Come on, Joanne.
Under European time. Like, subscribe, comment. We love hearing from every single one of you, and thank you to all our new subscribers. Our subscriber base has gone up by 300 subscribers this month, and we'd like to thank every single one of you for clicking that like and subscribe button. Last thing, I'd like to say a big thank you to my panel. Thank you to Andy. Thank you to Elliot.
Thank you. I apologise in advance if I'm in a bad mood on Friday. It's purely because if Malta don't qualify. That's why.
Thank you very much to Jason.
Bye-bye. Take care.
And thanks very much to Joe.
Bye, everyone. Spirit in the sky.
That won't go through.
We actually back the song off. Hang on. There we go. I'll reactivate Andy. Anyway, guys, I hope you are enjoying Eurovision week as much as we are. We will see you on Friday with our rundown of semi-final 2 and what we think. And until then, see you then. Bye-bye.